Let's go! Who's up next?
Welcome, Internet, to the Xbox Empire podcast. Pardon me for my misspeak. I'm very good at this. Part of the Play Some Video Games network of podcasts. I'm Elaine. That's Donnie. And we're going to talk about Xbox stuff today. And like I said to myself last week, I'm like, cool, there's been so much news. This will probably be a chill show. And then there's just a vomiting of news.
Lots of news. So eventually, one day, we're going to actually talk about the games that we play.
What?
Just
I don't
as
do that.
a fill-in. Like, I do it every week on Nintendo Shack. It's nice because often you can just fill time. Like, you can just play stuff, so that's great. But it's like I don't necessarily want to do it all the time. I don't like that we do it every time. It just is what we did. So I didn't want to do it here unless it was like a slow week. Right?
Well, we're having the opposite problem right now.
Oh, yeah, right. Because like
there's no such...
It would feel disingenuous to talk about what we're playing the last 3 weeks. Why would you? There's so many things to talk about. It has nothing to do with what we're playing.
No, it has everything to do with video games. But before, look, all right, there's lots of stuff to talk about.
We got a new logo.
Oh, that's right. We do have a hot new logo. You guys
so excited.
It's just, the colors are swapped on purpose. It's just, boy, you want to get sued?
Right?
Like, you know?
Like 6 people said that today. They were like, the blue and the yellow don't match.
I know.
Here's the funny thing. They didn't match. It wasn't on purpose. The colors come from the PSVG logo that I did 5 years ago, like just learning how to use PowerPoint.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Caroline used those colors to make other logos, and she made the Xbox logo that color scheme to match PSVG.
That's our reason.
So we've had that for years, and I swapped out the logos today. And that was this is the first time in 5 years anybody's cared, and 6 people were like, the blue and yellow need to be reversed.
No, we're not changing it, okay? First of all, it's that Treehouse of Horror episode. It's the shitting boy, you want to get sued. And second of all, this is how we've always done it all along, and we don't change.
It was funny because I did the logo, and I think people thought that I was like putting up the logo like, hey, give me feedback. They didn't realize that when I made the logo, I made banners, I changed the videos, I did the GIFs. So I was like, you want me to change them all just to swap the colors?
No.
I'm not
We make a commitment to our creative vision here. Okay, people? All right? We believe in ourselves. It's just we're along for the ride with us. That's all.
My initial reaction was they were like, oh, your colors don't match. I'm like, and that's what's going to save us when we get called into court. It's a vanilla
and you said
ice
that, and
thing.
I laughed. You said that, and I giggled in my house, and I went, "It's the shitting boy. You want to get sued?" It's that Simpsons episode.
Ours is a little different. Ours is dun 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 na 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 na. It's a little different. It makes it
just a little. Don't worry about it. It's fine. All right. There's a lot. Oh my god. All right. There's a lot of Xbox news to talk about besides our fancy new logo. Before that, let me give a shout out to our Patreon producers because you guys are awesome. Everybody listens to this show is awesome, and everybody who downloads it is awesome, and our Patreon producers are awesome. And here they are: Edwin Kahlo, Barry Cathcart, Josh Bonesaw Bourbon, Chris McElfresh Devontius, Kyle Heyman, Paul Calicote, Michael Masick, The Eggshen, Zach Bradshaw, Nick Fallhaber, Rude Days 93, Rob Emanuel, Ben Moxham, and Grouchy Surge. I say it like that because that's the way it's typed.
Great.
Oh, flashbacks to my childhood. The cereal commercials. Whew. Now all I can think about is that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cereal that used to be out when we were kids.
Ooh, not when we were kids. When you were a kid.
Oh my! You're not that much young. My hip is acting up. I gotta go. I need to go get my Bengay. And all right, look, Sonny. Okay, let's talk about some Xbox news.
You sure you don't talk about Waffle Crisp? Because if we're gonna have a thing about cereal, right? So you see that face that you made? That's how good Waffle Crisp was.
Do you still eat cereal on a regular basis? We'll get to the Xbox stuff in a minute. This is important.
Absolutely.
Okay, me too. But someone said to me, I'm an adult. I don't eat cereal anymore. I'm like, excuse me? The point of being an adult is you can now sit there and eat a whole box of cereal.
Big or both.
No one. no one will stop you. Yeah,
bigger bowl.
A mixing bowl.
Nobody is
spoon.
governing your cereal intake. That's the whole point.
I'll eat this whole box of Count Chocula by myself.
When you move away, that's one of the benefits to being on your own. That's the benefit of independence. You've earned that.
Yeah, you buy the big box, the family size box of cereal, but there's only one of you.
Mixing bowl.
Mixing bowl.
Big spoon.
Mixing spoon. Hell yeah.
Yeah. That's ridiculous.
I don't. Okay, one more cereal item to get out of the way. Do you put the cereal in the bowl first or the milk in the bowl first?
Cereal first.
Because if not, you're a sociopath.
Yeah, you're a monster.
Like my husband.
You're like the people that lay the Xbox sideways, which we're going to get to in this episode.
My husband pours the milk in first. It's
what?
It'll be grounds for divorce if he ever does anything.
That's weird. How was that not an immediate turnoff? Like, how were you like, we can't?
He's very pretty, and he's.
That sounds like a Seinfeld episode, you know?
It's been an argument.
He's like,
in my home
she's perfect, except just
the cereal thing. He's very pretty and a very good father, but it makes me want to shake him.
When they nerfed Waffle Crisp, I don't know what they did to it, but I found Waffle Crisp a couple years ago, and I was like, oh, this cereal used to be the bomb. And I tried to eat it, and it's not Waffle Crisp anymore. It's like honeycomb. And it's the same. Gross. I was like, what happened to Waffle Crisp?
Waffle Crisp was really good.
It's like the moms got to it, I think. They were like, we're not allowed to have this. This is too sugary. It's too good. You can't do it to our children. And it was
These
nerfed.
Mothers are monsters.
It was nerfed.
Nerf the Waffle Crisp. All right, for God's sakes. Before this gets even more off the rails, let's talk about the Xbox Series X. So people have this box.
Yeah.
Influencers, journalists, people who are not us because, hello.
Cool dudes.
Yeah, we're cool.
Dudettes.
Send us one.
I would love to get one.
I've been seeing a lot more women getting them. I appreciate that. Seeing that in persons of color.
You know what? Before we talk about this specific issue, one of the downsides that I've seen is they've been sending them to like popular people that aren't necessarily video game people.
Oh yeah, the influencer problem.
I saw somebody talk about the Xbox for 15 minutes and did not explain or understand half of like the Xbox pitch. Didn't understand backwards capability or compatibility, and didn't understand Game Pass, and they were just talking about like all these things that were not untrue but not fully like researched or informative. And I was like, this person doesn't know anything about video games.
And yet their followers probably don't care.
Right. They have 900 million people that follow them. That's the thing. Every time we do this, I've made this statement about 100 times. Every time something like this comes out, I'm always amazed at the people that I discover for the first time.
Yes.
That have 1.9 million followers on you. I'm like, who are you?
Cooler than us, Donnie.
Apparently
and that's not fair. Like, although I will say in that happening, I've discovered some great creators that I may not have otherwise come across. So I'm kind of excited that still happens, on a regular basis now. Look, there's a lot of trash on YouTube.
I just remembered he was talking about how you could play your games from an external hard drive. And he like pulled one out. It was like an old Seagate hard disk drive. And he was like, you just get one of these for like $80. And I was like, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
It sucks being us sometimes because we can't just enjoy things.
You like cringe. I'm just watching. Like, what are you doing?
I can't. Like I wish I was my kids who could just be like, I'm a kid. I don't understand. That seems cool. Damn it. So lots of people have them, and thus cometh the impressions. And with the impressions have come some interesting reports. We'll call them interesting for starters about how much heat this box is putting out. Right.
Oh, yeah.
So as you informed me, it vents out the top if you stand it vertically. Donnie's preferred method, and I will forever troll him by sending him pictures, but I would probably do the same.
Everybody should.
And people are saying this thing is getting pretty wicked hot. Now, I'm under the impression they can't put out any numbers or anything
The
right now.
embargo restricts all previewers. It's a difference. All previewers, because they're sending out different review boxes. So these aren't the actual boxes. They have to send them back. For anybody that doesn't know, the embargo is really strict. The people that have them will have to send them back, and then some of those people will get actual review units before launch. That'll have final software and final OS and everything on it.
Yes.
They're not allowed to talk about any of the design components of the system. So like you can't take it apart. You can't open it up and pull it apart and talk about other things. They're not allowed to they're allowed to do it. They're not allowed to publicize temperature readings. That is something you're not allowed to do. Some people have done it. I think they're like leaking the information through other people, but there are temperatures out there. There are people that are starting to share those, but under the rules of the embargo, like Digital Foundry can't go, here's how
Yes.
hot the exhaust is and here's how hot the box is. They're not allowed to do that yet.
They'll do it.
They will.
They're Digital Foundry. Hold your horses. So let me summarize what I've been seeing, and I think you've been seeing a lot of this too. Some folks have claimed heat-related shutdown error messages.
Yep, we have several of those.
Some people are saying the case itself, the external like card, and the exhaust are hotter. Touching it, warm to the touch, hotter than any current console on the market. And then there's, of course, been a ton of tweets and, kavitzing about what if this means another Red Ring of Death situation. And like, look, I don't want to relive the dark days, okay? But let me just say this about technology. If the box is putting off heat and it is allowed to ventilate that heat properly, that's probably a good thing.
It's a good thing.
That's how it should work. The problem with the 360 is it didn't do that so good.
The thing that I don't like about this is that you have like Gamer Rant, which you're not going to hear me reference a whole lot on this show or any show that I do, because I don't think it's a very reputable blog. They just like grab things from Twitter and then embed it in a blog post.
Sure.
They grabbed all of these different things together and they put it together, and then at the end they were like, our Xbox is overheat. Because it's it's clickbait.
It's clickbait.
They're not overheating. What the issue is, and I have this on good authority. Folks that listen to our shows probably know who exactly what I'm talking about. I have it on good authority that the people that are getting the shutdown messages seem to be people that are restricting the airflow to the machine. Guess how? Look, guess how they're doing it?
Look, Donnie.
Guess what they're doing to it? Guess.
Donald.
Guess it.
That's your full name.
They are putting it sideways in cubbies that don't have airflow.
In cubbies. Like, okay. Oh. Look, if you put this thing in the middle of a table sideways and it has it'll be fine. Yep. Right? So this is 2020. We ain't working with 2006, 2010 consoles anymore. This is a PC inside this box, right? And there's a PC inside the PS5 too. And the feat of engineering that's impressive is they crammed all that stuff into something that is this small. It's very simple, big, but
it's very elegant. I was talking about that today with the PS5 breakdown. How much simpler and non-complex. I called the PlayStation 5 extra. It feels so extra. Because there's almost like a militaristic simplicity to the Xbox. Like all of the parts are relatively the same size, the same length. They just smush together and then go in a box.
So it's an extension of what we look at with the One design and the PS4 design. Like, did Sony need slants on the back and front of the damn box? No. Did they do it? Yes. Because you know what? They can't help themselves. And that's fine. But this is just kind of an iteration on that concept, right? But they're cramming a PC worth of components that run hot into a pretty small footprint.
But damn, the heatsink is like, the palm of your hand.
Yeah. If the heat is coming out of the box, that's good. If you let the heat come out of the box properly into an open space, that's good. If you're rocking a closed entertainment center in 2020 and sticking consoles in it, you're going to have problems eventually. Mine is like essentially glass shelves and completely open on the side. So even when I do
you'll be fine.
I'll be fine. I could put it sideways.
It'll look terrible, but you'll be fine.
Young man.
It's a good thing that at least the console is working, that it's shutting down instead of continuing to heat and then melting the soldering and then breaking the box.
They have learned. I mean, look, the final say on this isn't going to happen until everybody has the boxes and it's out in the general public and we see what happens.
Sure.
But if the thing is exchanging heat, that's good. And I would like to believe with the lawsuits and the amount of money that they kicked out with the 360, they learned their lesson. Like, I wouldn't be nervous.
I think the entire design is basically just one big example of how to dispel heat. Like, the entire design of the box. It's like they didn't design it that way in that tower configuration with that big fan and everything. The whole thing was designed around the heat in mind. It's almost like they started from there and then worked their way backwards.
It's like all the heat is at the bottom. We want to suck the heat out towards this one port. They're not dispelling heat. Exactly. They're not dispelling heat outside the entire thing either, which is interesting and actually pretty elegant.
The heat sink is also up against like one of the sides of the case. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the people that are touching it, that's what you're feeling. That's the heat sink. It's going to be hot. That's what it's supposed to do. Also, the expansion card has obvious metal flashing around it. And if you stick it in there and the heat is passing it, then you pull it out and you touch the metal, it's going to be hot. And the Giant Bomb was the outfit that talked about the expansion card.
Yes.
He even tweeted, he's like, you guys are running way too far with this. He's like,
yes,
it didn't burn me. It was warm.
And like, also you have to keep in mind, this is not a platter hard drive solution anymore. There's no moving parts. It doesn't matter if it gets a little warm as long as the heat is exchanged properly.
Yep.
So like, everybody needs to have some chill. It'll be fine. Just don't stick it in a closed cubby and shut the door while the damn thing is on. Please, people, please.
For you crazy people that are going to lay it down sideways, I've also learned that if you do block the airflow, apparently there's like a flap or a slit or something on the back side that will dispel heat out backwards too.
Like a Porsche? Like a little wing on a Porsche?
I think something like that. It's like if it doesn't have full clearance vertically, there is a back exhaust path.
These fools thought of everything, but did they think, to Rebecca's question, if you can cook eggs on the top of it?
So the heat thing is funny because I listen to the Xbox 2 podcast every week, and it has Jez and Rand was on our show. And Jez did mention, he's like, I sit he's like, I have a little room. They don't have air conditioning where he's at. I think Germany, I think. And he's like, I have a little room. We don't have air conditioning. He's like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, if you sit here and play with this thing for a few hours, he's like, it can kind of warm your room. He's like, it's kind of toasty. And I think that's interesting because, one, Rebecca, it does sound like you could probably cook eggs. It doesn't take a whole lot of heat to cook eggs. You get yourself, a nice little holder and a little pan. You just kind of float it up there. But I think this is a reality check for folks that are coming off of this console generation. Like this, we're like skipping a generation. Like there's like this whole generation in PC gaming that consoles weren't yet at, that PC is just now leaving. And like we're jumping right to the finish line of that generation. And console folks aren't aware of how much heat PCs pack off. Like this is not new news, but apparently to the internet and to console only gamers, this is new news.
Look, well, there's nothing else. We don't have it yet, right? So we can't play with it. So this is what we're using to fill our time like a bunch of fools. I'm sitting next to a PC tower with a 1080 Ti and it kicks heat and it kicks it vertically. So I just hold my hands down there when Monster Hunter World is running and I can have a nice little, heat. It's cold in my basement. It's lovely. But this has been a reality for years for me. Like, it's going to get warm. Like I said, this is essentially a PC in a console form.
And people don't realize why it's getting warm. That's how much power that this thing is drawing. That's how much heat these things are going to give off. These little super chips, these little super sock chips that we have. And it's new for gaming. Although I mentioned, I pulled my Xbox One X a little bit further away from my wall than it was originally because my Xbox One X was 3 or 4 inches away from my wall, and I noticed my wall was getting a little toasty.
It gets warm. That box will get warm. I had to move it to a different spot so that it had more clearance on its sides, because I did pull a shutdown message on that box once. Yeah. I was running something like Doom Eternal or something like very high, it gets warm.
As we learned today, there were the hands-on impressions with the PlayStation 5. Because everybody's on edge and everybody's trying to pick, something to put over the other person. And a lot of people are like, the PlayStation 5 is cool to the touch. We found out the reason why. It's because the case actually doesn't touch the system at all. The case just floats out there on the edge of it.
Because extra. And I'm here for extra. I think it's so great. Extra. It's great. I can't wait until people come into my basement to pray to the obelisk that will live here. Both obelisks. I'm just going to put them next to each other, and you can pick your god.
I wonder if at night, if it lights up on the inside and it just looks like a dark, shadowy specter.
I don't like that. It's already so close to the design of the marker in Dead Space that it makes me uncomfortable. So if that thing starts glowing red, I quit. We're done here. I'm out. I'm just leaving my basement, locking all my doors. Stop talking to my computer robot voice, PS5. Let's see. So, look, I'm not worried about these pieces of hardware.
I've seen some temperatures that have given out there. I've seen that the temperature falls basically back down to room temperature normal within 4 minutes of turning it off after hours of playing. So it's dispelling heat extremely well.
I'm here for that.
Yeah, kind of an impressive feat of engineering they're doing in the size that they're doing it in. So that's the other thing. It's compared to the PlayStation 5 and like the PC towers that run these RTX cards and things like that. Like the Xbox is really small. It's big based on on its own. When we first saw it, it was like, oh, it's big because it's bigger than what we're used to. But compared to everything else and what it's doing, it's actually kind of a feat of engineering that it's as small as it is.
And as cheap as it is. I'm still impressed by coming
in.
Like
I
realized
a loss on it.
There's no way they're not. I realize that a $500 price tag for some people is like a lot to swallow. I really did expect, and I think maybe if this year hadn't been such an S show for a variety of other reasons, that number would have been higher.
PC space, this is at least $1,200.
It could be. Like depending on how the case and
if
maybe
you really wanted to do it well, it could go $1,500-$1,700 easily.
Yeah, and it's still a thick boy though.
Oh yeah,
this thick boy. I saw somebody who's a large human holding this, and it still looked big next to him, and I was like, man, that's a big boy.
I saw the same YouTuber I was talking about that didn't understand anything about it. He was holding it he swaddled it like a baby.
I do that. I would totally take that picture.
And I'm
going to take that picture.
That's actually a really great size reference, because it kind of does fit in the arm cradle, kind of like a small baby would.
Have they published how heavy it is? That's how you say that.
They have. I want to say it's 9 pounds, 10 pounds.
Oh, so
that's
it's like the size
of a
very large newborn baby.
I think so. Chat. Somebody go find
Someone knows. I don't feel like Googling it because I don't run this show that way anymore. Oh, data. We'll find it later. All right. So there is another news story that I'm personally actually pretty excited about this week. They've been out there with information about the X and S Xboxing, and the word is you can choose what parts of games you wish to keep installed.
Yep.
I love the hell out of this because there are games that I only want to play multiplayer with my friends and don't need the campaign stuff once I finish it. There are games that I sit down to only play the campaign stuff in. I want to choose because I don't want to have to install it, wait, and then manage it later. This is rad to me. Like, I'm excited. If I want a Redbox Call of Duty, just let me install only the campaign.
This is necessary for where we are with our storage space limits. And, they mentioned this, I think, a year ago. And I believe the PlayStation will be doing the same thing as well. And they did go out of their way to say for games that are supporting it. So the devs have to enable it. But no, this is great. I imagine a lot of folks, I only play Call of Duty for the campaign.
Me too.
I would love to not download 200 gigabytes and just download, 80 or whatever.
Me too. I'm so bad at the multiplayer that I don't engage with it, and that's fine. And then there are games where I only play the multiplayer because a friend is playing it, and that's how we have a social situation or whatever. So just the more choice that I get over my experience, the happier I am as a human being.
I would love to see them take this to the nth degree. I would love to see individual modes and stuff cut out. If I could download Madden and only play Exhibition, that'd be so great. That'd be so grand. I would just do that.
The thing about that is the assets are what is taking up the space, right?
Sure.
So once you have all those players in the database, it's whatever.
Yeah.
Madden's another one that I just want to play the campaign and then make fun of it and yeet it off my Xbox. This is my yearly, and look.
Garrett came in there, 9.8 pounds. So I remember.
See, it's a big boy.
Yeah.
It's not just. That's the size my dog was as a puppy. That's not small.
And then the PlayStation.
Okay. We've discussed the length of the PlayStation. I just don't know how much it weighs.
Every time I do it, the initial feedback in Discord is, we get it, Donnie, it's big. And then every time I see it, and I go, but it's really big. It's bigger than big. The Xbox is big. The PlayStation is big.
The Xbox is thick. The PlayStation is lunk.
It's big too. The whole thing, it's just...
extra.
It's extra.
I love it.
It's extra.
I like it.
They went out of their way to make this thing.
I'm really excited. Look, like I said, there's a history, and I'm here for it. Oh, so the PS5 is just longer. Its reported weight is 10.5 pounds, so we're in the ballpark. Big. I should really check It's kind of at its base, especially the disc model, is about as wide. It's a chonker.
Yeah, no, it's just a huge console. There's no way around it. And if PlayStation folks don't like me saying it over and over again, too bad. It's gigantic.
I have this plan to put both of these vertically on the same shelf, and I'm going to need to check the weight limit of this piece of freaking technology that I have in here.
It's getting close to mini arcade cabinet levels. With those side plates and stuff. It's just really big.
Oh, damn it. Well, we're here now. We're here where you need a separate space to house your obelisks from the digital, lords. So
I can't wait. Because here's the thing. Some people have that clinical... marble floor, IKEA white shelf house. This thing is going to look amazing in.
Yeah, they are. And everybody else is
Tesla houses. I want to see
me.
those pictures. But then I totally want to see the Craigslist pictures. Somebody wants to sell it. and it's just like sitting on the floor, like next to a milk crate with like cords.
Look, here's what's going to happen, bro. That white outside is going to get Cheeto dust on it. Okay? I realize it is a stereotype, but somebody is going to eat some chips and go, I should turn on the PS5 and then go get a drink. And they're going to push some buttons and smear the Cheeto hands on it. It's going to happen.
Legit concern. I brought this up earlier and I think people think I was trolling. So like on the Wii and the PlayStation 3, you had like floating removable side panels, right? You had like the port covers, you had the top things, and they always got lost and snapped off. And like after a couple years, like every used model was missing one and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think we're going to run into a situation where somebody's like missing a side plate?
Oh my God, I hope not. I thought we had evolved past the transformer method.
I think it's crazy to think because it's so big, right? I'm talking about something that could fit in the palm of your hand versus something that like looks like a cookie sheet. But
that would be hilarious.
But at the same time, like I'm not like going to rule it out. Like that's the problem with parts that you can just snap off is people snap them off. They get lost. Kids move them. They break. You know, just like waiting for the day.
People like me stress about this. This is like stuff that make people like me who likes everything to be a certain way, like lose sleep. Like I would lose sleep over flipping open that Wii cover to put a game.
Don't get me wrong.
I had to unplug it.
I'm not hating. If anything, I think it's probably my favorite thing about the PlayStation is the fact that it could have customizable faceplates. I'm all about that life.
Bring that back.
I'm all about that life. But at the same time, it's something that like it would never happen to me because my consoles are kept pristine. But it's just something that I'm thinking is going to happen. Like I could see you walking to GameStop, and because it doesn't look great when the faceplate's off, right? It looks like a vacuum that's missing its top cover. Or
it's
something.
Like a Terminator had its face damaged, and it's showing the Terminator parts, but it looks like a normal human.
So they're going to be like, you know, like we've got this used PlayStation 5 here, but it's missing the top plate. But if you like, you know, they're going to be like, if you turn it the other way.
Hello, Dave. I can't let you do that. Like, you know, it's but you know, to a point that was made in chat, I think that, yes, I think it would be a problem if people like constantly fiddled with them. But as long as you leave that stuff alone, unless you really have to pop it off, they're probably
you got to pop it off. You got to get your vacuum out and put it on the duck thing. They said it in the video.
I can't.
You have to. You have to do that.
This is
the PS5 is Dyson ready. I'm really surprised that more people didn't run with that today. Because I can only imagine if Xbox was like, look, every so often, get your vacuum, hook it up to the
do
attachment.
it with my dog. Why not do it with my consoles? I don't actually vacuum the dog. He gets really mad when you do that. Just FYI. Just before someone calls dog services on me, I don't vacuum the animal.
I'm just saying, extra.
No one's going to do that because none of us are that extra.
Well, then they're going to burn up.
Oh, no.
And you're going to void your warranty because you didn't vacuum it out.
I can't. We're not doing this today. All right. Let's talk about
I'm feeling
Minecraft.
better.
I noticed you're so much sassier. It's great. Now it's not just me. You know, I said this to Donnie before the show. I have a new big mug for everybody who's interested. It's a Pikachu mug, and it still holds like 20 ounces of tea.
This is the new Xbox Empire meta. This is the meta
I need a
show.
mug with the new logo on it.
Ooh, that's good.
Dude, hook a girl up.
By the way.
Oh, he's got shirts for me.
You've got 2 shirts and a hoodie that
I'll give you my address.
Yeah, we'll do that and I'll get that sent out.
Not you, Chad. I'm not giving you my address. I don't trust your guys.
Just like hoodies like this. See?
I'm going to get me a mug with that new logo on it so I can drink the tea out of it while I talk to
I should have done the new logo before I got the shirts, but you know. I don't think the new logo would look as good on a shirt anyway.
But it'll look good on a mug.
It would look good on a mug. We'll have to do that.
Let's talk about Minecraft because that always feels safe. Talking about Minecraft is like coming back home to video game things. Minecraft Live happened. Is that the event that it was? Okay. Yeah. So first of all, surprising probably not very many people. They're bringing Steve, Alex, Zombie, and Enderman to the Smash Brothers. Right?
I thought it was really surprising.
You thought it was surprising? I kind of figured that might be a matter of time.
I've thrown it out there on Nintendo Shack as a rumor, as a guess, as a prediction for years. It's been out there for years. Yeah. I totally think it's warranted. Don't get me wrong. I just wasn't really expecting it. I felt like I kind of was starting to think that if it hadn't happened, it wasn't going to.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm glad. I'm glad that they are sort of driving that partnership home. I feel like if you're going to drive that partnership home anyway, it's into Smash Brothers. Like these are our friends.
Huge marketing coup for Minecraft. This is going to do wonders for Minecraft.
They don't need wonders.
Oh, I know, but it still will.
Yes, you're right. It's like, oh, right, I have that on my console. I should play that.
Just think about what it will do for toys alone. Putting Minecraft in Smash, and then kids go to the toy aisle and they see Minecraft toys.
I need those amiibo.
For kids that don't play Minecraft, right?
Right.
They're going to start because they saw it in Smash.
Damn it.
That's amazing. Good for them.
It's wild to me that I'm still talking about Minecraft in 2020, by the way. Like, that blows my mind.
That's why
because I never would have
$2
thought.
billion.
Oh, boy. Apparently, though,
Get
relevant
ray
to this
tracing.
podcast, I did see that, and I want to play it.
We're not going to.
No, put it on the new console.
But the new consoles, I don't want to go all game tech here, but like I really got crushed with ray tracing over the past weekend. So like Spider-Man's ray tracing can only be ran at 30 frames. And Digital Foundry has a whole video on why that's possible. And here's what you need to know. It basically means it's like really hard to do ray tracing. Like I don't think we're going to get ray tracing at 60 ever on our consoles.
Algorithmically speaking, from a nerd who went to school for this, that is very hard to do.
Right.
That's all. That's the way I'm going to say.
So if ray tracing is forever going to be locked to like 30 lower res modes, I'm never going to use it. It's like it might as well not even be a feature.
That's fair.
Just like, you know what?
That's
Never
fair.
mind. 4K 60.
I am one of those people who will play with it to see it because to me it's kind
Just
of like
turn
an
it
engineering.
On. You're like, hey, that's cool.
Like, it's an algorithmic marvel to me. Like being able to simulate the way light actually reacts off things is really cool to someone like me who's a nerd. And that's it. And then I'm good. And then I'm going to go to, I want
Turn
my
it
frames.
Off and go back. Yeah, so
I'm a nerd.
I'm way more excited about Dolby Vision now than I'll ever be for ray tracing, I think.
And yeah, that's fair. That's probably fair. Minecraft-wise, besides the ray tracing, apparently crossplay is coming to Dungeons, which I thought was already a thing, and I don't know why I thought that. So in November, the Switch and the Xbox can play together, correct? And PC? Is that right?
Yes, full crossplay. I was so
PS4 too.
upset when it released and it didn't have crossplay because Jack and I were planning to play together. I was going to sit on the couch with an Xbox. Jack was going to pull the Switch, and we were going to co-op campaign together, and we couldn't, so we didn't. And I played by myself, and he just didn't play it. So.
My kids co-opt on same Xbox with me, and I just logged them into their profiles. That's how we played it, but I didn't even think about the Switch thing because I got it on Game Pass, and it was like, well, it's free, so we're going to play it that way.
Yep.
But this is cool, and there's more content coming. So for me, this becomes then relevant. So a new season pass is coming, new DLC in December, a new expansion. There's a new boss, and then there's a free update for all players that adds an additional difficulty level. Right. So there's stuff here.
Hard.
It's hard as hell. I'm just bad at video games, I thought.
No, it's tough. I did the main campaign and then the new DLC, the jungle stuff. I started getting the jungle stuff and I started getting worked. Now,
it's hard.
I also got carried on the main campaign because I was doing fine on my own. But then I got in with Ryan and Sean and they had review copies, so they were way ahead. So they like boosted my level up crazy. So I just ran through the rest of it. I kind of need that. I need them to carry me again through the other DLC so I can get boosted again because doing it on your own is a grind. And I don't like grind. I don't like grind.
I agree with that. Like you could borrow my 10-year-old. He's good. I don't know.
That works.
I'm embarrassed.
Here's what I wanted to ask you about this. So it's cool that Minecraft Dungeons is in Game Pass, and it's a game that you want everybody to keep playing, but they keep rolling out all this extra DLC. Wouldn't it be nice if they started putting some of the DLC into Game Pass?
Agree. I think it's a missed opportunity to not do that in this situation because it's already a $20 game. That's how much it is base. And you're putting $60 games in Game Pass. So like cut your losses. Give people all the DLC. And what that does for you is two things. One, it gets the Game Pass players to keep playing. And it gets them to nudge their friends. Either pick up all the DLC and pay for that. Or, sub to Game Pass for a month. And you might pick up a couple people that way.
It's like people on Switch, people on PlayStation's like you can keep paying for it. Or if it was in Game Pass. You could play it over here. And I was even thinking, I wouldn't even be upset if it was timed, but I wish they would tell people that.
Yes,
so like
agreed.
when this new DLC drops, if the old DLC goes into Game Pass, I wish they would have told us that at the beginning because I bought the first DLC, but I'm not going to buy this DLC because I don't keep playing it. But if they put all the DLC in it, I would probably go back to it because I'd be like, that's a lot more content. So it's like this weird, it's a slippery slope. Like I get it both ways. You want to make money and all that, but I feel like for Game Pass, you could sprinkle some of this in like every month, do a new pack, and that just kind of fills in that, gets a cherry on top to the amazing offer that Game Pass already is.
I agree. And I think doing it with a game like this, where you can play it across other consoles, so you might drag a couple extra bucks in buying the DLC is smart.
I bought it on Switch.
See, I kept thinking about getting it on Switch.
It's
and
only
now that the
$20.
crossplay, exactly, that's the thing. So what's a little DLC? You know what I mean? Like there's precedent. They're putting all the Destiny DLC on.
Yep.
All of it. All those expansions. So like, this is a $20 game. This is cheap DLC. Like, come on. Come on.
Perks. It is cheap DLC too. I think it's $10 for like both packs.
But what's $10, right? Like, why are you going to nickel and dime me on this game? This of all games.
Right.
It's a grindy loot game. Why this game?
It's too grindy. I don't do grind well.
I like it because I like Diablo. I have to be in the mood though.
I'm a story player, and when Diablo gets hard, I stop getting out of it. I'm like, you know what? I don't have time for this.
You also dip in and out of more games at once than I do.
Yeah.
I'll ride a game out, so I'm okay with like it being a little challenging every once in a while. Look, sometimes I'm old and grumpy, and I shake my cane and say, in my day we had less buttons on our controllers. All right, what else do we have this week? We have, there's news, man. It's just, jeez.
I thought we were going to have any.
I was ready to not have any. I was ready to beg for questions and talk about video games. Never happens. The Xbox Wire blog recapped the year that XGS has had 2020. Look, the thing that's interesting out of this is they're going to tell us what and how it's optimized this holiday for the launch of the new console. I want to know what my games that I already have are going to do and how.
It was like a big self-pat on the back thing. They're like, look how great we are. And, care. Good for them. But yeah, it's like nobody cares. Don't use the Xbox Wire for that. Like we get that you published 10 games, and we get that people played a lot of hours. Yeah. It's a video game console. That's what you do on it. The only newsworthy thing, and Aaron Greenberg did reiterate this, is that by the end of the month, they will have a blog post of some sort that will have a full launch window lineup of games. And we'll be able to tell what's been optimized for Series X versus what hasn't and all of that. So for those of you out there that are trying to figure it out, I know like even us in our own Discord, we're still trying to figure out. We don't really know. Right. What'll be there day 1 versus day 10 versus day 30. And it's coming. We have raw numbers about it loads faster as of right now, just throwing horsepower at old games. And that's cool. So it makes me really actually extra curious what else they'll do with them. And how involved they'll be with helping the devs do that optimization. Because most of these big companies do have people that consult for that work. Sure. So I'm curious. They did go out of their way to say that we're going to have Xbox Series X and S gameplay for new games. That's been something a lot of people have been kind of throwing stones at Xbox. They're like, we haven't seen any of these games. All we've seen is like Gears. And that's actually not true. Haven's release gameplay. The Medium's release gameplay. Falconeer's release gameplay, but you've got to go find it. It's been a part of other things and stuff like that. I understand what people are saying. To give Xbox a little cover flyer, I think the plan was to have all of that be Halo, and then they delayed Halo. Somebody posted this somewhere, and I've made this joke on other places, but like if you buy the cans of, I think is it Monster or is it Rockstar, like an energy drink? Rockstar. One of them, Rockstar, has codes on the back for, Halo stuff. They expire before that game's going to come out. I got Jack the Halo Infinite Nerf gun, and it came with a DLC pack thing. And that's going to expire? Worked. No, code worked. Whoa, interesting. We redeemed it on Bungie.net. Here's the funny thing. When I got it, it didn't work. I totally am that person that was like customer service right now. Like, I bought this. Sure. I want it. And within a week, it worked. I went back and redeemed it, and they started taking the code. So I have it attached. I have like a gun skin and some DLC whatever booster. That's good. So it's attached to your account whenever the game comes out. So if you do buy the Rockstars, attach the codes to your account in whatever way you're required. If you redeem them on Bungie.net, I think you'll be okay. They'll be fine. It's just funny to me that it's like expires at the end of the year. Or it's like Halo Waypoint.net or something like that. It's whatever Halo does. It's different, but there's a website on the can, right? It's so bad. Oh, that's right. They're not. Oh boy. It's like a Halo Waypoint or something like that. You got to go there to do it. It's silly. Actually, speaking of Halo, we can talk about Halo. Ooh. So there's some speculation about Halo and when it's actually, not Bungie. Yeah, about when it's actually going to come out. Is there a game that you want to see gameplay of? Like on Series X, is there like a showcase title that you're like, I want to know? You talking about an old game or a new release game? A new game that's going to release. Is it like Valhalla or Cyberpunk or something? It's probably Valhalla for me personally. We've had this discussion repeatedly about the War Lady Viking, but I want to see that open world. I want to see them flip between the big ass map and like gameplay, and I want to see them go in and out of menus and use perks, and like I want to see that snappiness and that prettiness, because those Ubisoft makes beautiful worlds. They do. Characters a little wonky. Worlds beautiful. Dead eyes, but
Yeah, but hey, look,
Scenery's
don't we
good.
all? But the scenery is good, and the scenery plays well with stuff like HDR, Dolby Vision, extra frames of resolution. Which one is yours?
Valhalla's a good one. That's a good pick up a game to like have a showcase the day of. NBA, which we've seen is real pretty.
Yeah,
all the
that's
sweat
pretty.
and all the stuff. I think it's Call of Duty. Like,
I
kind of want to see what Call of Duty's doing on the Series X that it's not doing on Xbox One and how much better it is. Because that could actually push me into maybe trying to find a way to pick it up for launch day.
I think Call of Duty's an interesting one because, like, I think you would have to see it side by side.
Yeah.
And I say that because it's grimy.
Was awesome. It looked great. I remember I was playing and I was like, they are getting everything out of this Xbox One X that it can get. And I only think forward like what that could be, and that could be awesome. Or it could just be the same thing because they're not doing it yet. Who knows?
That's what I worry about with these studios that turn games every year. Like they don't have time. But they've had dev units for quite a while.
Yep.
So on the flip side, they've probably had a unit
at the very
for
least,
their whole development
crank up
cycle.
the frames, but even then, Call of Duty's always 60, right?
Yes.
So 4K 60 HDR, but like on Ultra, I guess. Just really crank up the foliage and the sharpness and get all of the, like, there's no haziness to it, to the image or anything like that. Really crank it up.
Show it to me in the night scenes with the blacks. That's where HDR tends to really shine. Like, show me that distinction. It shines in colors as well, but it's cool to see HDR being used in the blacks.
We also talked about it last week, and we were talking about it in the Discord today, so I'll just briefly mention it again. I would really love Bethesda to come out and be like, look how great Doom Eternal is on Series X. I really want them to crank that up, because that'll make me want to go back and play it.
I would like it to run on that console like it ran on my PC.
And I want to see
I would really like that, because that game moves. And I think that's a very big selling point, because there's so much moving. And on console, when you're just looking at it, you don't have a comparison point. It looks really good. But when you switch to PC, it moves and gives you all of the detail with it, with the movement. You get less of that motion blur. Yeah. So, yeah, I'd like to see that too. Just show it to me side by side. Sell it.
Deb says campaign in Call of Duty is usually 30. So go
that
60.
makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, go 60. Why not?
60. 4K, 60, HDR, all the things, Ultra.
Give me all your gun models, in Ultra Res. Why not? Oh, Forza is another one, but that's not launch window, is it?
Forza 4 is getting an update. We don't know if it's at launch yet. Kind of wish they were doing 3. I feel the same way with Gears. I really wish they were doing 4. Because if I was going to replay one, 4 would be the one I'd want to replay first.
Fair enough. I liked 4 a lot. I would love it. I would have loved for them to hit a new Forza game at launch. If you're going to launch a new console, give me a car game. Like, maybe it's just me. Give me those cars.
Hopefully Forza Horizon is not as far away as people think. And everybody, Playground is working on Fable, and everybody knows that, and everybody's known that for years. But people don't. They also have to realize, I keep bringing it up when we talk about them, is there are 2 teams of Playground. And the other team could be working on Horizon. We don't know that.
Sure.
They could have told us that, and they didn't. So I'm not saying that they are, right? They told us that Turn 10 is working on Forza, and it's a couple years away. That doesn't mean that there's no Horizon in between there.
I doubt it, though. Wasn't Horizon the last release? Don't they flop them?
They usually do. Unless they're going to take what they currently have with Horizon and kind of remix it and get something else out. Like, I don't know, like, until I'm proven wrong, until they announce a date for the next Forza, I just find it really hard to believe that we're going to go like 4 years without a Horizon. Like, I can't take that at face value. It's like, that can't be right.
I think,
because that means we won't have a Horizon until like 4 years from now, and it's been 2 years since we had the last one. It'd be like 5 or 6 years. That
it has been that long.
Right at all.
I think you just feel this way because you like Horizon better than Motorsport.
Of course I do.
Yeah, okay.
I'm trying to will this into existence, but my theory checks out. My logic has background.
You're not wrong, but we're more likely to get Motorsport because they build the models for Motorsport and then they use them in Horizon in the game that moves a little faster and is a little sillier. But
Motorsport sounds like it's 2 years away, at least. So if Motorsport's 2 years away, and we haven't had a Horizon for 2 years, that means the next Horizon's probably 4 years away. That doesn't sound right.
It could be 3. They could release it pretty soon after, or they could be building them in tandem, and they could give you a choice.
Or they could have a Horizon that they're working on that they just didn't want to tell us yet. And
I like your optimism.
Holding on to that hope.
I like your optimism. I'm going to let you have this one this week, and we'll take it away around Christmas.
If I'm right,
then I'll I'll think of a present. I'll be less sassy for one episode. I'll think of something. I'm an Italian woman. We'll think of something. All right, let's finish up talking about Halo Infinite, the game that was supposed to be and is not. Some speculation about when this game is coming out based on the art of the game book getting a date of June 29, 2021.
Sounds right.
It could be, but I've seen a lot of art books come out 3 and 4 months after too. So
and they get dated tons of dates before.
I would believe anything from March to June.
So when Halo was delayed, that was the episode that we had Rand on, and I told Rand one thing. I said, how much can you really do to a video game in 6 months? Everybody was like, it's going to come out in March or April. It's like, I don't think you delay it to come out in March or April. If you're delaying it,
you think a full year
from a launch window, like you've got to significantly do something to it. So I've always kind of taken the stance, if it came out before next fall, that'd be like a bonus.
Fair enough. That's
when they delayed it, I was like, it's probably next fall. Unless they roll it out in pieces, or unless, they've tidied up, like unless what they're doing to it just isn't that great. And that's the downside. That's the thing. Cause I, for instance, when we did a stream of the Halo Infinite reveal, I was loving what I was seeing. I'm not a Halo person, but I thought Halo looked great. And everybody talks about Craig's face, and I feel like it's completely dismissive of Chief's armor and the sunset and the world and the grass. And like when he hopped out of that warthog and like that UI menu shield snapped up in front of him and had all the effects off the side, I was like, this looks amazing. That
game looks great when it's moving.
The
second that game isn't moving, character models, all of them, I don't love personally. And it could just be a personal response to a look, because sometimes some games the look just doesn't work.
I think it's a simpler, flatter look. I think it's a cartoony. It's like more of a old school Halo type of look. Well, I always agreed with that. I was never thinking visually it was a looker, but I was also thinking it was a multiplayer game designed to run on Xbox One S.
They've built a world and a campaign that matters to people, though. So, and I did not love. I had problems with Halo 5 from a campaign standpoint. I didn't love that game. It sucked. It was tedious and it pissed me off. This is their chance to make good for all the people that are like me and to close a second trilogy of video games. I don't think they can afford to make this one okay.
That's why I think it's at least a year.
That's fair. I don't necessarily disagree with that. I would believe anything from March forward. I think what you get as a final product gets better the longer the window. Yeah, obviously, right?
I agree. Yeah.
And they don't, I think...
Because if they were releasing in March, it would look a lot like what we've seen.
You might have some better textures. You might clean up faces. You might
for
change
the most part.
But you're not going to redo your entire art style around any characters. Now, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. When I watched that video, I didn't hate what I saw, but what I saw looked dated. It felt like old Halo. And I think for me, you're giving me this hot new piece of hardware. I want new shiny Halo. I want you to wow me and get me excited about
that's
the
what
game
most people
series.
Wanted. They wanted an excuse to buy the X.
Sure. Yeah, they wanted that game.
I just never thought Halo was supposed to be that game.
I don't think it is. And I think if you really wanted that game, it should have been Forza. I don't think they need that game. The point that I was going to make is I would say they have to get it out by March if I thought they needed a game. With a service like Game Pass, you don't need to do that.
Nope.
The rules are different now. So
and after a Bethesda acquisition, they don't need it either.
Right. They don't need it. So maybe, let them sit on it. But they're losing money every day past release that game sits. So there's going to be a return on investment.
I was here with that side. So even if it was not what people wanted, I was totally down with, well, just go ahead and release it so we can play it anyway, and they'll make it better. Right? It was supposed to be an expanded universe. It was going to be like Destiny. It's not going to be the end of the world if Craig's face looks flat. I will still play the game, and I'll keep playing it, and you just keep adding to it, making it better. You can patch it later. I thought what we saw was totally playable. I just put it that way. Totally playable. I was not like, oh, this game looks awful. I think people have taken the meme and ran really far with it.
I think for me, if you're going to I would almost argue, drop the multiplayer only piece. And release the campaign as a separate game then, and put a 6 on it, and do that. Because
I'd be okay with that. I wouldn't be okay with the other way.
Agree.
Because when Brad Sams came out with a report that they were going to release the campaign and hold the multiplayer, I was like, can't do that.
No. You can't do that. It has to be the other way.
Multiplayer has to lead.
That's a Halo thing. The people who come to Halo just for the world are people who've loved, like, I loved Marathon, and that's how I ended up into Halo. Like, that weird, like, AI arc that's in there is like, that talks to me, but I'm the 1%, I think, that just comes for a campaign.
The fact that they were trying to do like a free-to-play multiplayer that would run on all Xboxes and all PCs made me was thinking it was more of like a Fortnite type of multiplayer mode or thing, which is why I understood the look. Like, I was like, I get it, right? You can't make it, like a campaign. So if we're taking that stance, I would even say, like, make that a separate game then.
I think but they led with like almost a campaign intro trailer.
They did.
So you see my problem? Yeah. Like, you can't, you're trying to have your cake and eat it too. You're trying to kind of sell it as this and you're clearly not doing both well. Let me put it that way. When that was moving in multiplayer map type stuff or shooting type stuff, that actually looked okay to me. And I think that I would accept that as a multiplayer Halo. You want to drop that as a campaign on my lap after Halo 5 and making me wait this long? Nah, dude, you can't do that. Like, that's, people like me will be mad. We'd be salty. Yep. I'd be Dev in chat would be salty. We'll be mad. Like, I want that campaign.
No, I'm with you. So. I wouldn't play, like, I would do a battle royale just because, but like, I don't do multiplayer. Yes. So Halo multiplayer, I don't. We're the Xbox show apparently that doesn't care. We're like the one Xbox show. It's like
I literally thought it was like only me because I know that I'm in that minority and that's okay with me. Like. But if you try to drop that campaign after me coming off of Halo 5 and how just like table flippingly annoyed I was at how bad that campaign was, you can't do that to people. They're going to revolt openly. You would kill the franchise. It would be done.
But I like the idea of the free-to-play multiplayer. I would even imagine, like, maybe one day it could come to Switch or PlayStation or something. I actually don't hate the idea for Halo.
Sure.
I think in today's world with Warzone and Fortnite and Apex, like, you got to do something to compete. So if they were making recessions or concessions for that, I was totally fine with it. I was like, hey, what I see looked like totally playable. I would totally play it. But I agree, that's not what you want from a campaign either. Right. So if that was the idea, was, hey, we're going to do this multiplayer thing that's like super applicable to everything, but we're going to do this campaign thing that's to Series X, then just make them separate games.
Yes. And I think that if
especially with Game Pass, because you're not selling it for $60, right? It's Game Pass.
Right.
So I don't care if you give me a 6-hour Halo campaign. That sounds awesome.
If it's good, I'm here for that.
Right.
I almost feel like we're talking about three parts of this piece, right? We're talking about a campaign, we're talking about maybe a battle royale or a free to play, but then you're leaving out the middle, and I think the middle is important with the standard campaign, the standard multiplayer modes.
Yeah.
You don't put that in, and that's where the bulk of people are openly going to be done with you.
Yep.
You can't get away with that.
I 100% agree with you. We're in lockstep. When Brad Sam said that they were going to launch without multiplayer, I was like, oh, that can't happen. And I remember at the time,
they would burn it down.
People were like, but Donnie, you don't play multiplayer. I was like, oh, it's not for me. I'm not talking about me.
No, I know who I am and I know what I like.
Right.
I'll jump into it. I would actually play the free-to-play Fortnite style thing or whatever, big open map, multiple people. I would totally play that. I am awful and disinterested in regular Halo multiplayer.
Yep.
Which is fine. I feel the same way about Call of Duty.
But that's the face that runs the place. That's what people are there for. So
correct. And
that's got to be there.
That has to be there. And I think there are a lot of people who come to Halo for a story.
Yeah.
The I Love Bees, alternate reality game thing that they did back for Halo 2 sold that in for a lot of people. And a lot of people remember that. I do. Like, I have audio recordings of that. It was great. So
I'm in the good place because I can be an Xbox fanboy, but I'm not so into Halo that the delay has not really hurt me at all.
Same. I can get away with, look.
It's like I can wait for Halo whenever it is. Now, if they were like, hey, Fable's delayed another 3 years, that would hurt. Like, no.
See, I have a similar feeling about Fable. Like, take the time to make it not suck, because I didn't love 3, but I really loved 2. Like, I have very strong feelings about Fable.
I loved 2 and 3, and I think I love both of them more than 1.
Oh yeah, 1 is not my favorite, personally.
I would love to see 3 remade, to be honest.
I would be okay with that, with some mechanics shifted around. It's been a long time since I played 3. I played it at release.
I played it on Back and Pat, and I beat it when it came out, and I got the upgrade, and it's playable. It's the thing with Lionhead, they were never great, like, at making, like, visually, like, Fable was never beautiful.
No, you're right.
It had a charm, but
yes.
it wasn't pretty. So that still shows now, like it's still, like even with the up res and everything, it's still not like super great, but it's definitely easier to play now. I know we had Ryan Turford on, and I think we had a long conversation about this too. I know a lot of people didn't like that whole king mechanic of raising the economy and everything. I did. I thought it was awesome. I liked
that
it.
was the part I liked. The
most people got off there.
Yeah, I liked the relationships in 2, especially with the dog. Look,
I liked the relationships in 3 because they came back to you. Like
That's
they put
fair.
you between a rock and a hard place. And I don't think I've ever really had a game do that to me except for maybe a Telltale game, but in a totally different way. Like you make all these promises to rise to power, and then you come to power, and then they actually treat you like a real king. Yes. And I was like, oh, this is cutthroat. Because you got to start turning on people and stuff. Like I was for it. But the ending was dumb. The ending was stupid.
I feel this way about many trilogy games, but I have this general feeling. But like, I feel the same way about this Halo game as I would about another Fable. Though the last one in the series was not my favorite. In the case of Halo, it was like I would argue bad. I didn't like Halo 5 at all, or very little. So I would take the time and don't screw this up, because if you screw up one more, I'm kind of off. I'm off. I'm done.
They'll have to go out of their way to get you back.
Yeah, they would have to really work hard. I would have to have a lot of people saying, give it one more chance, honey.
I'm super excited to see that Fable's in Playground's hands. Up until they acquire Bethesda, I've been saying for the last couple of years, I think Playground has made a really strong case to be considered Xbox's best studio. And I know people are like, that's crazy talk, but like they really crushed Horizon both times. Like it's a really great game.
Those are super fun.
Yeah.
I love those games. They're amongst my favorite Xbox
and they're good.
Games. Yes.
Like the multiplayer works, like all the modes work, like they don't really have issues. They all receive well. They all look great, like just really good at making games. So I have a lot of faith in them. I have got a faith that they'll be able to pull Fable off.
I think I would love to see that happen, because it is a series that is beloved by many. So don't screw it up, man. No pressure, guys. Like they've also have they done action games?
Nope. It'll be a shift for them.
That's just make the cars, people. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Look, I like driving through the cornfields. Just make sure there's tons of those. It'll be
Forza's an RPG, and if they adopt some of that, like I was thinking the new Fable might be more like Kingdoms of Amalur instead of like the old Fable game. I could see that when I was playing Kings of Amalur. I was like, this is probably kind of close to what they're, because I imagine Playground is going to bring some of their multiplayer type stuff to it. Like it's not going to be just Fable. It's going to be different.
It's a great world for the way they do multiplayer.
It's going to be a shared world thing, I think.
Yeah, I think it's good for that. It's a good type of game for that, because they can make it silly.
It's a good IP.
It doesn't have to be uber serious. Yeah, it can be okay.
It could be great.
I'm here for it. Let's just don't screw it up. Yep. And don't screw up Halo Infinite either. Take your time, for God's sakes.
Well, hell,
all right.
If they haven't done it by now, what's another year? Been working on it for like 5 years.
It doesn't show, man. That's the other thing. 5 years, and those videos did not show.
I think that is fair criticism, and we talked about this ad nauseum when it came out. And I think for a month we did nothing but Halo talk. So it's like I get it. I get why it looks the way it does, because it wasn't built for Series X. But it just happens to be that it's taken this long that they're launching with Series X, and that's the standard. People want to see Series X type stuff. So, like, they're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. Do you want to support everything? I think if they had messaged that a little bit clearer going in, instead of, like, trying to save it and make it the savior thing, if they had messaged it a little better, like, hey, we're making this multiplayer thing. We want to put it everywhere, so, like, it's different. But they didn't, and that's the standard people hold them to, and I have nothing to... I'm not going to argue against that. That's totally fair.
I
was fine with it, but I get it.
Yes, especially considering that, like, the thing that I will let this be after this statement. The thing that bothers me is, like, you spent that many years to put it even if you just look at putting on the One X, like, look at the way Gears looks.
Yeah, no,
you know what
totally
I mean?
Fair.
Like,
look at Doom Eternal.
This is where,
Doom Eternal looks amazing compared to Halo. Like, they don't even look in the same ballpark.
So, like, like the argument, like, it's tough for me because they had so long with it. Yeah, and it just looked so like they took.
I think it's completely fair to question 343. Like, after this, I was like, what are you doing?
What are you actually doing?
You have all the money, and they have so many employees, and they've just been tooling away at it. But I mean, I think it just goes to show. I think there are rumors that, like, they scrapped development midway.
I would believe that.
They scrapped engines. I think it started Unreal and then went back to Slipspace. So
I would believe all of that. And it's
having some issues.
just to say this clearly, game dev is hard.
Oh, it's super
okay.
hard.
I'm not sitting here and being their performance reviewer. Like, what did you even do here? It's hard. It's just that when you show that thing in that state after having that long, the consumer is going to go, dude, what are you doing?
I think we're gonna, you know what? Maybe not, but I'll just say it now. I'm totally fine with like taking Halo and giving it to like Machine Games or id. They're better at making shooters. They're better.
Sure.
They're just better at it. That sounds crazy because that's what 343 does, right? And like if they're not doing that, what are they doing? But I'm not gonna lie to you. Like if they were like Machine Guns is gonna make the next Halo, I'm like totally.
If after 5, you said to me we're giving it to a different studio, I'd be like, okay, just keep 1 or 2 of the. No, you know what? Scrap the writers too, because 5.
No, they're not gonna do that. They're gonna they're gonna get it together. They're gonna get it together.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. Since you brought up Bethesda, let's talk about Bethesda. Okay, so Clobril, I believe, is the pronunciation of this dude or woman's Twitter account. And they cited a bunch of sources and job listings indicating that perhaps there's some stuff in the near future for Bethesda and games are being worked on. So Machine Games is working on Wolfenstein 3 based on job listings. Who is surprised by more Nazi murder? Because I am not.
Dude, I'm so excited for Wolfenstein 3, ready to do the end of the trilogy. Youngblood was a huge miss. Technically good, big miss, everything else. So let's get back to what Wolfenstein is great at. Machine Games is great.
They make great games.
They're good. I'm good shooter studio.
I will say that I find their video games, I find Wolfenstein cathartic. That's what I'm going to say.
If not Halo, could you imagine if Machine Games made a Gears game?
I would be. That would be all right.
That'd be so much fun.
But they have this tendency towards kind of uber silly.
Or like a Gears universe game. Like an ODST type of...
Like if Judgment was not Judgment.
Right. Like you're not Marcus or any of those folks. You're just different people just in Gears. Like in the Gears world. I'd be so down for that. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. No, I'll be all right with that. I'm just glad they're working on more Wolfenstein. Arcane Leon is working on Deathloop. Austin is working on a new AAA project.
Most people don't know Arcane has 2 studios.
Yeah, now they do. They didn't always. They split them because they make great... Look, I think Arcane is some of my favorite stuff that Bethesda has made. I really, really like the Dishonored stuff. I
started playing it.
You played 2. You're playing 2. There is a level in that game that blew my brain wide open, and I loved it.
I started playing 2. I'm through 3 chapters. It's starting to click with me. Like, I'm starting to get it. So I give Devin all the credit for this. So when I started playing 2, I realized, like, I played 1. I remember the assassination, the murder, I get on the boat and doing the thing. I thought Dishonored was like a stealth game. Like, you're supposed to be stealthy.
It can be.
Of course. Dev was like, no. He's like, if you just want to murder everybody, you can. So I've been doing having all kinds of fun.
It's super fun, and it gives you a lot of cool... And Prey is this way, too. Prey, it gives you all those options, and I think that's what I like about the games that Arcane produces. Like, how do you want to play this video game?
So this new Arcane Austin game is a new IP, Unreal Engine, blending the first-person shooter and RPG genres.
You're saying words that make me need to fan myself because, like, that sounds perfect. Yes, give me that. That's that's got a Dishonored vibe to it almost.
Could it be a Dishonored shooter game?
Just set it a little further forward in time and give me even flintlock pistols with the powers, and I'd be like here for it. But if it's a new IP, it's a new IP, and that's exciting because I actually think every time they've iterated and produced a new IP, they produce some of their best stuff.
When I hear first-person shooter RPG thing, I always think Destiny, and I hope that's. I
don't want another games as a service.
Thing.
I don't just.
That's what I hope it's not.
I think I'm just overwhelmed by them.
They're already doing Deathloop. Why do another thing? Like, just stop. Just do something else.
Please, no more. But I can't do any more.
When I first read the first tweet, that was my first thought. I was like, uh-oh.
I don't want... No. I understand that games as a service is the hot thing, and I don't discount it. Those games are fun. I just can't do any more. They make tons of money. It's overwhelming, and I have so many of them.
One of the things why I was excited about the Bethesda acquisition, because it seemed like Bethesda was going towards let's make all the games and make all the money. Let's do all the battle royales and the service. And it's like, stop doing that. Stop doing that. How about you just
make video games.
Make the games that you make that we love. Stop doing that. And I hope maybe Microsoft's like, yeah, we have enough multiplayer service games.
Well, they now have Game Pass to hold them up.
I hope so.
You know what I mean? Like, they don't have to make that number every time with every single game.
I don't want another bleeding edge situation.
Oh.
And that's what, like, that's why I could see something like that, you know? And that's like, let's not do that.
Speaking of things that make them money, apparently ZeniMax Online is working on hiring for a new IP for like an open world, like basically Elder Scrolls Online, but we're going to do something else. And they're also going to continue to support ESO, and ESO makes them a bunch of money.
Yep.
So,
I think all of their games are multiplayer online based.
Yes.
Do they have another IP that they could do with that?
I mean,
it would be a new IP, I guess.
If it's a new IP, then cool. If they could do a Fallout that doesn't suck that way.
Yeah.
Fallout 76 was bad. I'm here to say it. I
Kevin
know
loves
it's not. I don't like that game. I have not revisited since I played it originally.
Since they redid
in
it.
fairness. For which time? Because they've released a lot of patches to that video game. I just see the clip of Todd Howard. Was that the one that he announced where he talked about how the collector's edition had a map that glows in the freaking dark, dude? Was that the one?
I don't remember. I remember they said they were going to do the beta to break everything and try again or whatever.
It was that. And he had the very shiny brown shoes. I will never forget.
Yeah.
Elder Scrolls Online, by the way, is supposed to be good.
Oh, yeah.
And I haven't played it yet. So.
I can't. The idea when you go, hey, you're going to play online in a world that never ends with your friends, I'm like, I'm out.
Oh,
so I'm the opposite of that. I want to play by myself in a world with nobody else.
I go in moods, right? Sometimes I want to be a loner in my basement and fit my stereotype and just do that. I played Persona 5 the Royal, or Persona 5. I haven't played the Royal yet. For like
Hellblade this week, having a blast.
I love games like that. I love to lock myself away, use my brain, engage with a cool world, and have it just be me. But sometimes, like, I use it as a social situation. So something like ESO, because it's never ending, there doesn't feel like there's pressure to always be going forward, and you can just chill. Yeah,
that's true.
So I get that.
One thing we didn't talk about last week, we were talking about the acquisition of studios, and I meant to make a note to bring up. I don't think it's possible because I think they're technically a publisher, but Avalanche, they made Rage 2.
Oh God, they did.
Yeah. And
I forgot about that as quickly as it happened.
And I was wondering, like, could that be a potential target? Like after the acquisition, but I think Avalanche has like 3 studios, and they also are self-publishers. So I don't know if that even makes sense.
Also, I don't know if it makes sense from the point of view that you picked up a group of studios that make kind of similar games.
Yeah.
Because Bethesda is doing what Avalanche does better, I would argue.
I would agree with you. Rage 2, I was pretty hard on when I played it, only because the marketing felt like it was going to be so like epic and crazy and Mad Max and like coming off of Far Cry. I was like, dude, I am here for this. And then I played it and it wasn't that. But that said, it was a game that I played completely to finish, so I didn't hate it. It was good. Fair.
It also wasn't super long, like for those types of games. I don't think it was actively awful. I just don't think it was remarkable.
Totally play Rage 3 on Game Pass. Totally.
Yeah, if you didn't have to buy it for $60.
I wouldn't pay $70 for Rage 3.
Yeah, there it is. I agree. That's unremarkable to me, right? Yeah. Or unmemorable. Like, can you tell me 3 story beats in that, or 3 fun moments that you had with that game months after playing it? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Those are the ones that I'm like, I'm here for $70 for a game that makes me remember.
Sure.
I think that's, oh my God, I think we're finally at the end of the news.
It's an hour 10, so how about we do 3 questions?
All right.
Or 2 if we go really long, but pick your favorites first.
Oh, man. How about you pick a favorite first, because I've been talking for a while.
I'll do Sean's. So Sean writes in and he goes, do you buy warranties with your consoles? This one is always tough for me because they're already expensive, and he generally doesn't budget for extra warranties. But day one units are a bit of a risk, aren't they? What do you think? So Sean, I have always bought them when I have purchased consoles from GameStop, because GameStop offers really good like day one trade-in service, and they're typically not that expensive. I did not buy the warranties for this launch because I got my console pre-orders at Walmart and Amazon, and their warranties are through third parties, and I just don't trust them. I don't think they're worth anything. Plus, you have the standard manufacturer warranty from Xbox that if something's broke with it, they'll replace it. And if there's an actual problem, like your risk is kind of hinting to, let's say we had a red ring situation, they'll totally fix it, just like they did the 360s. They're going to replace all of those. So
I agree.
I don't think it's to be concerned over. But when my PlayStation 4, I bought a launch day PlayStation 4, and I think it was $40 for the service. Totally bought it.
Ooh.
3 years later, walked into the same GameStop with the same receipt, totally swapped it out for a brand new collector's edition, no less, an upgraded new slim and everything. No questions asked. And even told them, they're like, is it broke? Nope. Just want another one. And they have to. Like, that was their policy. It's like, yeah, here's your new one. You bought the warranty. So
I think for me, I don't think I've ever bought an extended warranty with a console. I'm trying to think. I've done it for some other electronics under certain circumstances. The circumstances are if I can walk into a physical location and swap the box. If I have to mail something in, I'd rather just go through the manufacturer. Yep. And if I'm outside of the manufacturer's warranty period, then if worse comes to worse, I'll pay to have it repaired, or I'll
get another one.
Get another one. If
Typically,
I have to.
You'll know if there's something wrong with it.
Yeah.
You're gonna know.
I bought a 360 and it red ringed, and because everybody bought a 360 that red ringed, right? And I got a new one. I sent it out in the coffin. I did the thing. I hate that, but it was free, and I was not in the same financial situation as I am now, so I didn't have a choice, right? So I played games on something else for a while.
And then these days, they'll send you everything. They'll send you the box and everything. It just
shows up. And actually, it's pretty quick to turn around these days. Yeah. It's COVID notwithstanding. Replacement of hardware has been quicker lately than it was 5 years ago.
I also think that I have a lot of confidence in what they're doing right now because, I mean, think about it. They've sent these preview units out like 2 months before launch.
You don't do that and let people beat the hell out of a box that you think might break.
Yeah, especially if they can directly go to YouTube and be like, let me tell you why this thing is a piece of junk. No,
you don't do that.
They feel very confident. I know Phil and Greenberg and Jeff and all the folks, they've had them for months. They've been playing them at home for 6-9 months. So I think they're really confident in their design. I actually don't have much of a worry at all right now about any risks associated with the consoles.
Let me tell you, I have 2 original Xbox Ones in my house still. My OG launch day one and one that I bought within a year of launch, my kids are using every single day. Like, if they can still build hardware like that, I'm not worried about that.
Actually, I still have a 360 that we use.
I still have a 360.
My daughter uses it instead of a Roku.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
Maybe. The Roku actually put out more frames these days. But hey, look, I still have a 360 hooked up because not every game is backwards compatible, and I'm one of those people.
NCAA football.
I have a big boy Xbox here, too, because Otogi does not run backwards compat, and I love those games, so this is who I am. But no, I don't think I've ever bought an extended warranty. I bought them for compute. Like, I used to buy Apple Care, or what they used to call it, for my Macs when I was in college, because I could not be in a situation where I had to shell out $1,500 for a new laptop. Yeah. But I don't even do it. I don't even do it for phones anymore. Bring it on. You gotta really push it. I gotta have a reason. How about since it's spooky season, best scary game recommendations for Halloween this year from Patrick?
Ooh.
I love horror games. I will tell you that my number one recommendation, if you haven't played it and you want to have the hell scared out of you, is to play Resident Evil 7. I think of everything that the Resident Evil team has done, and both 2 remake and 3 remake are exceptionally good for very different reasons. 7 is scary as hell, and I have played that thing probably 6 times through, and it still gets me every once in a while. It's a great game, and it can be had for super cheap right now. So that's probably my number one recommendation.
I haven't played it yet, but I've always wanted to, and I just never have. Never got around to it. And it was Alien Isolation. No, I've played Resident Evil 7. I really liked Resident Evil 7, but I didn't love Resident Evil 7. Kevin loves Resident Evil 7.
I love Resident Evil 7.
Yeah, so we were a little differing on that. I thought Resident Evil 7 was definitely a return to form.
Yes.
I definitely liked the Texas Chainsaw type elements. I like the swamp stuff, so I was down for it. It was good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say anything bad about it. Resident Evil 3 is my favorite Resident Evil. I played the remake this year. I did.
Did you like the remake?
I did.
That Jill, what they did to Jill's character, okay, for 2 reasons. One, they gave her an actual, decent outfit to fight zombies in. They gave her pockets, okay? There's no pockets in miniskirts. Don't at me. I don't want to hear it. I just don't. You don't fight zombies in a tube top. Who does that? Also, she had maybe my favorite line in a video game in the last, 3 years. The line, "Bitch can't even swim," made me laugh out loud.
That's good. And
it's a good version of that game. Agree.
The Evil Within is good. Dying Light, I loved.
Dying Light is very good.
So that's good. I'm really upset that they've never enhanced Dying Light. It's still like 1080p. It's like,
yeah, I know.
What are you doing over there? Because they
trying to make Dying Light 2. That'll never.
But they release DLC for it like every month.
I know.
Enhance the game. You can't go wrong with Dead Rising.
That's more silly scary.
That's true. Okay, so I'm gonna get into some indies then.
Ooh, hit me with them.
The Coma. There's two of them.
That's supposed to be very good.
The Coma and the Coma 2, which is Vicious Sisters. I played and reviewed both of these on Switch. They are kind of like old school Clock Tower games, if you remember those from the PlayStation era in the 90s. Yes. They're kind of similar in premise and design, but different. And I loved them. Those are great. Mm-hmm. The Dead Space games are backwards compatible. On
I
Xbox.
just recently finished running through that trilogy. I'm almost at the end of 3. 2 is amongst maybe one of my favorite action horror games. It's up there. It's exceptionally good. And they're cheap. You can get them for like $6 each if you don't own them.
The Evil Within? They should drop that on Game Pass.
I like both 1 and 2 for different reasons. Evil Within 1 is a very Resident Evil 4 vibe.
I loved 1.
You didn't love 2?
Here's the thing. I don't want to say I don't like it yet, because here's what happened. It was on sale for Amazon for like $7. I bought it.
Okay.
I tried to get it in before like Tony Hawk came out. So I was coming off of something else before Tony Hawk. So I tried to play it like in 2 days. I played like 2.5 hours of it. And I was like, I really don't understand what's going on. It's been years since I played the first one. I was like, I'm just not into it. It actually kind of felt more Deadly Premonition than Resident Evil. It was very like wonky and psychological more so. And I was just like, I don't want to. It was, to be honest with you, it was kind of I don't want to try this hard right now. That was exactly what I was thinking. I was like, this seems like I really need to be paying attention, and I'm kind of not.
You had what I would call the right game but wrong time syndrome. It's a good game that you tried to play at the wrong time.
I want to go back to it in a different.
You should.
Yeah, I want to go back to it because I loved the first one. The first one's great.
First one's a good game, and it's also cheap. I agree with Alien Isolation. That game's scared. I'm a baby who didn't finish Alien Isolation because I wasn't in love with horror games when that came out. And I didn't finish it. I should revisit it. Also, can be had for a couple bucks.
I did not like Blair Witch.
I was not in love and did not finish.
That game looks really bad. I expected more out of the team.
I just wasn't enamored. I know that this is a PlayStation game, but Until Dawn is really good if you want some B horror. I like Until Dawn, Man of Medan. I didn't like it much.
I love it. And that was my answer to one of our other questions.
We'll pull that one other question because I do like that one other question. If Man of Medan is fine.
No, it's not.
It's especially good. So I had a great experience with Man of Medan because I played it overnight.
So did Josh and Kyle, and I played it. I'm sorry.
If you play that game by yourself, it's not as good.
I played it with my wife. My wife and I played Until Dawn together. We got drunk
my husband
and played
I did too. Yep.
We started getting drunk playing Man of Medan, and I kid you not, after chapter 1 of Man of Medan, I believe the lasting impression my wife was like, can we play Peggle or something? Like, we just weren't into it. The walking totally around wasn't like tight. It felt wonky. It felt weird. It felt old. You know, like we kept like trying to walk into like walls, and like it just didn't feel like we had full control of the character. I remember, I'll never forget this. I remember some of the dialogue felt out of sequence, or like I would do an action and then they would say something that totally made that action seem like it either didn't happen or like maybe they should have said it before I did something. Like I remember, I forget what happened, but in the first, because it's been a couple years now, I think. But in the first episode, you're on the boat, right? And then this other boat comes up. And I remember before that boat came up, like I was in dialogue or something, and I was like, we should check for boats. And then like the girl was like, no other boat's going to be out here. And then like a boat came. I was like, that doesn't make any damn sense. Like I just said we should check for boats. There was things like that were happening.
Sure. No, I think my actual biggest problem with Man of Medan, now I played it overnight with a friend all through the night. And we passed the controller between episodes. My biggest issue with it that Until Dawn did better is that you could screw up in Until Dawn and you did not immediately lose a character every time. There were certain situations, yes, but Man of Medan, there was a very small window of error. Like one wrong button press and you were done. I hate that. I want a little bit more space. But it got me with jump scares more than a few times throughout the episodes. So
well, that's good.
And it's cheap. You know, it's not like you're not paying a lot of money for that thing.
I'm looking for a game. I'm trying to find if it's on Xbox because I played it on Switch. It's called Detention. I don't
That
think it's
sounds
on Xbox.
terrifying.
It's real good.
Okay.
I like Soma. That's good.
I like Soma. I actually played Soma differently than some. There is a mod that you can turn on PC that kind of eliminates the insta-death monster stuff, so you can actually spend a little bit more time being creeped out by the world and like ingesting all that.
That's good.
I think that's good because that stuff was broken and like not fun for me personally. So
I think I was over the Outlast stuff. Like we've had a lot of the Outlast layers of fear, the whole we're gonna put you in this spooky setting, but you have nothing and you have to survive while you beat Chase. It's been done a lot. We've had like 12 of those games this generation.
I don't like any of them. I don't like horror games without some form of agency. Something. It doesn't have to be good and it doesn't have to be super effective. But if you're just telling me run and hide, I get tired of that fast and I don't think it's super fun.
I think I'm with you. I was that way. I was definitely that way with all the ones that I've played since then. But I'm not going to lie to you. The first one I played, which was... I can't remember the night the PlayStation 4 came out. Outlast. It was just Outlast.
Okay.
It may have been PlayStation Plus or something, but I remember I played it the day I brought my PlayStation 4 home. I loved it. It was kind of like this Fatal Frame thing. And at the time, it felt novel and refreshing for an indie game.
Yes.
So now we have like all kinds of Outlast and all kinds of layers of fears and it's like I've done it so much now.
Yes.
I'm totally over it. Like I get it. It's not as fun anymore.
I agree. I once was fine. PT was fun for that experience too. PT is great. PT is magic, right? And but like after I've done that loop once with one game, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm done. I want the agency. That's why I think I like Resident Evil so much. It at least gives me agency. It's not always fun agency. It's sometimes scary. I like that scraping for resources and that making these off on the fly. Like, do I shoot this or do I run decisions? Those are my favorite. So. There was one other question in here.
Josh's question.
Josh's question. You can pick one title from any other console to bring to Xbox. What is it and why?
I have a couple. One of them totally was Until Dawn.
I agree with Until Dawn.
Until Dawn's a great game.
It's such a perfect B-rated horror movie romp. Like it's spooky but stupid, and they're dumb teenagers, and it's perfect.
Yep. Perfect. Also, 100%. I was not trying to pick games that were like first party IPs because like I know Last of Us or Uncharted.
That's not going to happen.
Right. My next game is Fall Guys.
Oh, that's a good one, and I hope that happens.
It's going to, but it's probably going to be a year. It seems like PlayStation has a good exclusivity deal with that game, but it's one of the few games that I still play on my PlayStation. We play it all the time. We love it. It's not that I don't like my PlayStation because I'm totally fine to play it there. I have it, PlayStation Plus. But I do think we'd play it a lot more if it was on Switch, and I would play it a lot more if it was on Xbox because this is where I typically play. So I think it's just I think it's a great game. It's a game of the year contender this year. I think it's an amazing game. So I would really like to see it come to other platforms.
I agree with that. Hades is not on Xbox at this juncture, is it?
PC and Switch only for now.
That's one, because Supergiant Games, I have a very special place for.
Everybody loves this game.
It's really exceptional, and it's really good. It's Supergiant good. It's got the music that you get stuck in your head for bars, and it's got like those characters that you don't forget with their perfect art and their good voice acting. It's addictive, man. It's that one more run game. Those games grab onto me.
I didn't want to just pick on PlayStation, so I also pulled Bayonetta 2.
Yo, just put Bayonetta everywhere.
Bayonetta 2 is great, and I love like that Nintendo got it. I think it feels great and they're stable. I think it's a game they needed, but at the same time, like I do wish other people got a chance to play it because it's a great game.
Oh, it's such a good game.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think if I can pull any other games out of my hat for this. Until Dawn would probably be a big one for me. It actually bums me out that more people don't have access to that. At least dump it onto the PC.
I always want to play it like kind of every time around this time of the year.
Me too, and I'm going to end up replaying it, and I've played it how many times?
Yeah, I'm probably going to replay it too. It's that and PT are like horror games that I don't know if I can ever get away from. This year I'm going to try Alien Isolation. I just re-downloaded it. It's on Game Pass. I never played it. I think I've talked about this a few times over the years. I think I got a hold of reviews or something that were bad, and I had like this impression that it was bad. But over the years, everybody that I talked to, they're like, the game's great.
It's really good.
That's what everybody tells me.
I never finished it because I'm a baby. I came into liking horror in my 30s. Like it's not something I enjoyed as a younger person. I had a lot of anxiety, and that like seemed to exacerbate it. So when I got control of that stuff, I realized that kind of tension and the adrenaline rush that comes with it is fun, right? So I tried that game when I was not prepared to handle it. So maybe I'll play it again this year and finish it. It's super good. It'll scare the hell out of you.
That's what everybody says. Everybody's like, it's great. And I love Alien. I have all the movies and everything. And I was like,
hell yeah.
I need to play this game. Like, I need to sit down and actually play it.
You legitimately do. It's very, very good. Like, also, I'm going to throw one more out. I realize this is a Nintendo one, but I put Tetris 99 on everything.
That's a good one.
It's super good Tetris, and for me, it's super satisfying. I can't stop.
Mario
just
35
put it on
is better.
Well, I'm better at Tetris 99.
Sure.
So I like it more. But Mario 35 is dope, and they should never take that away.
It's really, really good. I haven't played it. I was talking about this on Shaq last week. I haven't played as much Mario 35 as I would want to.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm kind of not trying. I'm like actively not trying to get into it, knowing that it's gonna not.
It's
be
gonna
there.
go away.
So it's like I kind of don't want to miss it, so I just don't even want to play it.
Is
that weird? That weird
no,
gamer like psychology.
I'm gonna use that excuse for why I don't have a win yet, because it's not that I'm bad at Mario. No, I'm a professional. It's that it's going to go away, so I don't want to get too attached. That's what it is.
I played it the day it came out. I played about 10 matches in a row, and I was like, this is addictive. I'm never going to stop.
Good.
I got a bunch of connection errors, and then I was like, I'm going to turn this off, and I haven't gone back to it, and it's because of that I'm like, I don't want to be stuck to there.
Here's what happens to me. I play for a little while, and I lose a bunch, and then there's some cursing. Not going to lie. And then I go, Tetris 99 is right next to it on my home screen. I'm going to play the game I know I can win at. I'm going to do that.
I never won at Tetris 99.
Oh, it's very satisfying. I enjoy Tetris 99. I would love to put that on everything. At least give it to me on PC.
That's a good one. That's a good pick. I was trying to think of like Switch games, but like so many of them are first party. You know, I was trying to think of like exclusive. I guess Detention would be one of them. I reviewed Detention, and Detention's a great indie horror game. If you guys want to play it on PC or get it on Switch or whatever, and it's a really, really good one. The Coma's kind of like action horror. It's kind of goofy at times. It's very Persona in style.
Oh, you just said that. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, definitely try the Coma if you like that. If you like Clock Tower, you like Persona, it's definitely that.
Okay, I'm here for that.
The Detention is more like Ju-on or The Ring. It's actually scary.
My husband
People get
like
hung upside down. They slit their throats. Like stuff happens.
Oh no, that sounds disturbing, and but also like I'm intrigued.
It's also anime, but it's like more like what are the it's more like manga, maybe. It's not black and white though, but it's more like that comic booky kind of style. It's not like
I like that. I
the
like
edgy
all the
cartoon style that Persona has.
I like all the anime. Just give it to me.
Persona's a great pick. Persona.
That's a good pick. And specifically, and I'll say this till I die, Persona 3 needs to be ported.
Put the HD version of Persona 3 that came out on PC. Put that on Switch and Xbox. Why not?
That Persona 3 didn't hit PC. 4 did. It's 4
really?
that did. Yeah, 4 is the one everybody loves the
Golden.
most. And I get that.
Golden.
I get that.
Yeah,
3 is dark and broken, and I love 3. But the only place they ever redid 3 on was the PSP. And I still play it on my Vita. Like, 3 is my favorite, and I would love to see it. But, like, push 5 to
3 is
everybody.
my favorite, too.
3 is the dark, and it has my favorite characters. I have feelings about those characters. But 5, there's no reason that, well, there's lots of reasons involving money, but if 5 landed on Switch
I dated
tomorrow,
a girl that was super into Persona, and we kind of played together. She played, and I kind of like sat next to her, but
that's what my husband does.
I got really into Persona 3 because of that, so I watched the anime and like all the stuff, and
I own books. I own them too.
But I can't play. Like I can obviously, but I don't play Persona games because they're like 500,000 hours. They never end. It's like, who has time for this?
Me. I'm the only one. I
tried Persona 5. I think I got 25 hours into it. And I was like, I can't do this anymore.
I think I put 110 into that one, and I'm gonna replay it as Royal. If they put 3, 4, and 5 on Switch, I would buy them tomorrow and replay all 3 of them.
I think a lot of people would.
The 3 and 4, especially for a lot of people, but they ported 4 to PC, which is good.
Yeah, just put the old ones on everything. Why? Like, I get 5. Like PlayStation's got 5 for now. Like, that's fine. But 4, it's been 10 years.
3 could use some, like, look, redo 3. Just make a remake of 3. Reanimate all that stuff. Do it. Get those voice actresses back. The voice actress that the woman who does Mitsuru's voice acting also did a character in Fire Emblem. I love that voice actress. If she doesn't come back, then don't redo it ever. But those are games I would take on any system that they are released on.
I think I played more of the 3DS one.
The Etrian Odyssey style ones?
Yeah.
Those are not bad. I am bad at them.
I like the little like chibi cartoon things that they do.
See, when the little dog is cartoon, it's so cute. Don't get me started.
Has an easy mode.
Persona has an easy mode. You could play it, only take 80 hours. Look,
Right.
Okay.
No, I'm here for strikers.
I would like, yes, please support.
Do you play the demo?
No,
I played the
I
demo.
didn't.
It's
Here's
so
my problem.
good.
I didn't play the demo because they haven't announced a release date for us, and I don't want to get my hopes up.
Well, you gotta have a Japanese account.
I know, but I don't want to get my hopes up because I'm afraid
so
they're not going to let me have it, and then I'm
looks
going to
so
cry.
good. It plays so good on the light. Even on the light, it plays good. It looks good. I was playing on the light. I was like, this looks amazing.
5 style really lends itself to something like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I've said this for a long time. I've got Persona art. I've got the comic books and the mangas and stuff. I think I'm way more into like Persona, the style.
Yes, than the actual playing
game.
of the video games.
Yeah,
I
the
feel
game.
that. I feel that.
It's like, can I just get like a Persona 5 like side scroller or something? Can I just do the cutscenes? Actually, can you just get the game out of the way?
Actually, you could totally do that. Actually, you could. There's YouTube accounts for that, bro. Like you can totally do that.
I watched the whole anime.
Did you watch the anime for 5?
On Hulu? Yep. I'm upset we don't have a dub version. So I had to pull out like a guide and like get all the characters' names and everything because this was before I played the game. So I was like, I had to get all the characters' names and try to figure out who everybody was.
I don't want it dubbed unless they're going to use the voice actors for the game. I have a really hard time with that
I
because
could
you spend
understand that.
so many hours with them, right? In
That
the
makes
games,
sense.
like it's not a 10-hour video game. It's
Sure.
my life for weeks. So
I'm just dumb American. I was just like, this is hard to follow.
so am I. But
Or the subtitles, if the subtitles had the names of who was speaking.
I always appreciate.
Yeah,
when
because
that
they didn't. So it was hard.
No, that's a lot.
Yeah,
That's
so
a lot.
I was trying. I was actually putting in work to get it because the Persona 4 one does. Persona 4 one's
that's
dubbed.
right, it does.
So I had no
Yeah.
problem watching that. I watched that all the way
That's
through.
the one that everybody probably loves the most.
Yeah.
I would say universally 4 is everyone's favorite. 3 is my favorite, probably of all time. But
3 is the
realize-
one I think I just know most of.
Oh, 3 is so good.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna be thinking. I
I
had
like
to
the
go.
whole murders investigation stuff.
I'm just gonna go.
And that always
install
got
it.
me into Catherine, and that's kind of where I get into it. I'm like a fake Persona fan.
That's all right. I'll
I
accept
wanna
that you have
be.
art. No, it's okay.
It's like, I
I'll
want to be a
accept it.
Persona 5, and they're like, how many hours did you play? You're like, 18.
I like that you whisper it like, shh. It's funny because the rest of my tattoo on my one arm is going to end up being the Tartarus Tower from 3.
Nice.
That's what I'm going to do with the rest
Garrett
of
in
my
the chat says, bro, do you even Persona?
Yeah, not at 18 hours, bro. It's speed run. What? I think that's going to do it for the questions this week. I'm going to hold on to some of these questions because most of them are generic enough, not news related, which I love that you guys do that. You can get at us on Twitter or in the Discord. I'm ET Dragon and Donnie is Eat the Hype. I love that. On Twitter or, join the Discord, hit up Discord. I'm on it today, bro. I need more freaking tea. Join the Discord if you want to hang out and see us sling beams and talk a bunch of crap at each other all the time. We're
PlayStation
adults.
5 hate.
I'm rolling my eyes in mother right now because I feel like everybody's chat mom all the time. Like,
Somebody said that today when I called the PS5 Extra. They're like, dude, you're such a hater. I was like, you don't even know. I probably like a Silky Johnson gif. It's like, of course I am.
I need a t-shirt that says I'm going to turn this chat around. Like, I need I'm going to turn, like, gentlemen, I'm going to turn this chat around. I'm going to be chat mom.
It's so good.
So-
It is, look at this. It's October 7th.
Yeah, baby.
We are so close.
How many days do we have left, Donnie? Give me a
I'm gonna
day's
go look at
update
my
before
counter.
we bounce
I'm
out.
going to go get my counter.
I need to know.
Because I can find it.
It's under 40 days.
3 days.
Oh, God, that's like almost a month.
And that Halloween will be out of here in no time. Like, that, it's going to get so fast. Once I start decorating for Halloween, it's going to go fly by.
How long do you wait to decorate for Halloween?
So it was going to be this weekend.
Okay.
But there's a tropical storm rolling in.
Oh,
So
that's right.
I didn't pay hundreds of dollars for all these tombstones to go put them outside in that. So I'm going to wait for that to roll through. So maybe next weekend, the weekend after.
I discovered that they sell these skulls that you can put in your fire pit that don't really burn. They
those
just
are
hang
good.
out and look creepy. So I'm going to need a bunch of those just so that when my neighbors look from their patio into my yard, it looks like I have a pit of skulls.
My wife is a little upset with me because this year I got a mantle skirt that's like all spider webbing in design, and she's all
God.
like, her response was, "I let you do the outside all scary. Can't we do the inside pretty?" She wants to have like checker painted pumpkins or something. I'm like, what?
Look, you're going to have
This
to
isn't
concede.
Martha Stewart's house. I have one season for me, one season a year that I do anything of, and it's Halloween.
Do you want to tip the lady over the edge 33 days before the Xbox comes?
I want black candles. I want skulls on the mantle.
I like black candles.
Maybe like some gothic chalices, some fake blood in them. Like,
you're just describing my house all year round. So
that sounds amazing.
I
just want my house to be like that for a weekend. Like, can we just do it for one season?
I gotta paint some of my walls red.
She's trying to make it all pretty. I'm like, oh, nobody wants that. That sounds awful.
Look, I'm not that wife. I'm not on team pretty. I'm on maybe if I don't dust for long enough, the spiders will just make their own decorations.
I'm trying to scare the hell out of the people in the neighborhood.
There's a house in my neighborhood.
Keeps.
There is a house in my neighborhood that they literally like put teeth along their porch to make it look like a monster house, and there's just like hundreds of decorations. I'll take a picture.
They do. I've got competition at the end of the street. I've got this family. They just buy all of the inflatables.
Oh,
which
they're
I
that
make
family.
fun of them all the time because they're like, "We're gonna get you this year." I'm like, "You're not even close." It was like your house looks like a jump house. Your house looks like Willy Wonka's Halloween Funland. My house is legit scary. Kids are scared to come here.
There's a house. So it's funny. The town right one over from me changes its name and its town signs every year to Monsterville.
Oh, that's amazing.
And they have and it's like 1980s old houses with spires, like historic houses. And these people go all out. And so like there's one that the guy dresses up and they do a haunted house walkthrough. They go nuts in this town. So I'm curious to see how they handle that this year. That should be fun to watch.
People
are going to be mad.
That's my stuff.
Yeah, it's good stuff. You'd appreciate it.
Yeah, so I'll start in a couple weeks, and then that'll take up the time, and I'm watching all the scary movies for Decade of Horror as we get ready to close that out. So by the time, in no time, I'll be doing Mario Kart Live and Cyberpunk and Xbox Series X and all the good stuff.
Video games. I would say that maybe we won't have as much news next week, and we'll do more questions, but who knows at this point, because Microsoft needs to be stopped.
They're going to buy somebody else.
Stop. I don't have any... They're raising my blood pressure.
They're going to buy Devolver.
I come into this every week and I'm like, I'm going to open up mostly blank.
Doesn't matter if the games are good. It's just as long as we announce them. Doesn't matter if they're real. Just keep announcing them.
My blood pressure, Phil, please.
Eat the hype.
Sir. And with that, follow us on the social media. Come hang out in Discord. Don't forget to tell your friends we're fun.
Hey, leave us a review.
Hey, that's a good idea.
I was doing all of the updates for our new podcast artwork. So one, go to your podcast app and make sure you have the new artwork. You should have it. I did see it's up on iTunes, but I saw we only have 2 reviews, and I normally don't trump for reviews. I don't do like contests for reviews or anything like that, but I think we've cranked it out. I see a lot of folks have been listening for the last like 2 or 3 months. We've had a lot of new listeners. So just as a reminder, if you get a chance when you're listening to us, just tap some stars or something. That helps people find us.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So if you get a chance,
we're humbly asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have anything to give you. I'm not gonna do a Twitter campaign or anything. Like I'm not gonna.
I gotta buy new consoles this year. I don't have anything to give anybody. I have a budget. Okay. First time in years.
I realize that like I'll do a podcast for like 100 episodes before I even ask for people for that. But
okay.
It does matter. It matters a lot in terms of circulation, like curation. It helps a lot. People that have more reviews, they kind of curate up the list of rankings when people are searching and stuff like that. So
if you don't want to do it for Donnie, then you could do it for me. Like if you're like, look, okay, maybe not, then just I'm new here. Make me feel warm and fuzzy.
There you go. Yeah, just
Mm-hmm.
That's the review. Elaine is awesome.
I like those reviews. They make me feel good. And thank you to everybody for the listens and the retweets and all the Twitter engagement. Again, that makes this the most fun. If you didn't listen and engage, then we wouldn't want to do this so much. So thank you to all the listeners. I think that's all I got, Donnie. Are we out of here?
We're good.
Let's ride out and count down the days for our Xbox. We will see you folks next week.
Peace.
Bye.